Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Creative Expressions, and today I am super excited to share with you 9 brand new dies that are being released worldwide today to all of your favourite Creative Expressions stockists. Now, out of these 9 brand new dies, I've got 2 new additions to the Wings of Wonder collection. Now, I know many of you have been collecting those. We had 2 different collections released throughout this year already that give you so many options. These are 2 brand new dies that are going to match in with those collections, work well with those, but of course, as always, can be used on their own. We then have 7 brand new pierced dies. Now, last year I released a pierced collection for Christmas that was incredibly popular, but I've always wanted to take a go at bringing you pierced items for every day as well. So we have got frames, we have got backgrounds, we have got flowers, we have got butterflies, there's even a cheeky little fairy in there. So there's lots of this lot to share with you. So what I thought we'd do is have a little look through the collection, share with you the packaging, the demo boards, and just a few samples. I can't give everything away on day one, but keep an eye on my Facebook page and I will be posting lots more sort of snippets and sneaky peeks as we go over the next couple of weeks. And then eventually, towards the end of the month, I'll put up a whole album of everything that I've created with this collection and another album for our Creative Expressions design team members to pop in all of the cards they've made as well, so that I've got one hub of inspiration for you. But let's get started and take you through this amazing collection of 9 dies so you can see which ones are your favourites. So let's start with the pierced collection, shall we? We'll start off with this one. This is the butterfly and flowers frame. Now in this die set, we actually have 6 separate dies. Now if we turn this over, we can give you a little flash at these. We've got an outside scalloped edge. We then have an inside flat edge. Then we have our main cutting panel. Then we have a scalloped oval. We then have a pierced oval, and then we have a lovely butterfly in an oval. Now the butterfly itself will stay in your cardstock, so if we remove these edges, that would then stay in the middle of the panel. But with the edges, we have the choice to cut it out of the pierced edge or the scalloped, or use both of them as our mats and layers. Now obviously having the scalloped edge run around the oval and around the outside straight away ties this together for you for more uses and more styles. You know, you might not wish to use the inside parts at all and just use those parts and have that commonality between the 2 scallops. The pierced layers, of course, are also great for backing this panel. If you would like to, you could cut that out of a self-adhesive sheet and then paper piece back in the wings, or put some glitters or gilding flakes, items like that behind it. When we actually start looking at these ones cut out, I'll bring in my big board here to give you some ideas. This is if we was to use the outside edge, so we've used the scalloped edge running around the outside. We then haven't used the flat outside edge, but we've put the main panel in place. We've left off the ovals that go around the side here, and we've cut into it the butterflies. As I say, can be used completely on their own. You could actually just use this on your card to create an aperture if you wish to. Same with the outside edge, because there isn't an attached edge to it. If you would like to leave that in your cardstock, you can absolutely do that as well. So many options on how you can use them. Then moving across our board, we of course have the scalloped edge, just showing you how you could use that on its own if you would like to. Then moving further along, we've got just one of the panels showing you the pierced detailing, all of those butterflies and flowers that have been cut out with that nice big oval in the middle. And when we get onto the next die I'm going to share with you, you'll see there's another option to put into there if you would prefer. Instead of necessarily using the butterflies or leaving it open, you could put in another die if you prefer. Then when we actually look at the pieces that we mentioned, so here we have our scalloped oval, we have our pierced oval with our butterflies in the middle, we have the pierced oval just left plain, so great for your inserts. Then we've got the butterfly again with the scalloped edge, or the scalloped edge just on its own. And that's just a few of the ways in which you're going to be able to use those 6 dies to create some really stunning cards. Now, when we bring this one in, as you can see, I've kept the background solid as such, but it is actually on the front of my card, and I've then put card on the reverse of it, but I've put through some lovely rose glow pink pearl card. So that's just going to shine through those aperture pieces. So again, if you wanted this to be the front of your card and you didn't want to have anything on the inside there so that you shoe through, absolutely possible to do so. We then, of course, can use the butterflies that come out of that as well. So if you do want to use those bits, the pieces that fall away are great to use. We then have the daisies, which will be coming up shortly, just to give you a few ideas. On the inside, I've engraved the same die instead of cut it. So it's all there and just gives me that ability to then add to it. And I've added in a little stacked area to write my sentiments. Now, of course, having more options with these dies is what it's all about. And here's another version showing you how you could decorate the inside of your card to match the outside of your card. Again, bringing in that butterfly, paper piecing in the elements, matching in here with the flowers around the edges, using the backing panel with the scalloped edge to go behind it to build that up on top of. Then this one's a bit of a sneaky peek at the next die set we're going to look at. Now, as I mentioned, I love interchangeability. So, of course, in the set we just looked at, we have that butterfly die, and we have the oval in that die set for that to be a sort of accommodated in. Well, I really wanted you to have more options. So we're going to look next at our heart frame. Now, you can already see the outside of it used on this card here. You can also see that that will also fit inside the scalloped outer edge. But when we look at the die set itself, you'll notice that it comes with a decollage. And this is a really beautiful one. It's slightly larger in size than the first one we looked at, but this one actually has 5 dies in, and this is our oval heart frame. Again, if we flip this one over, we can see that we have that deckled edge running around the side here. We then have a separate piercing edge. Now, this doesn't have a cut line to it, that one. So if you wish to just pierce that on the front of your card and leave it there, you absolutely can do. So again, you could have this as an open panel for the insert of your card, or you could cut your mats to go with it, or it can just be used on any card in any direction just to give that pierced detail in that rectangular form. We then have our heart frame. Now again, this one's got these really big swooping parts to make up the corner elements. These are great for paper piecing and all using on their own and recreating that sort of panel, or even adding into your foliage to look like little sort of swirls and bits that are coming out of it. Then in the middle here, we've got another decal edge running around the oval, again, a separate die. And then in the middle of that one, we have this heart sort of medallion as such left there. Now this can actually just be cut and left in your cardstock, or you can use that decal edge to, of course, cut it out. Or if you are lucky enough to get hold of the first set and this set, then of course you could be using that pierced oval or the scalloped oval with this one as well. So again, lots of interchangeability between the two dies. Again, the main panel doesn't have an outside cutting blade attached to it, so if you do wish to leave that in the front of your cardstock, you absolutely can. Now, when we go onto the board for this one, I've just done a few bits here for you, but hopefully you can see this is sort of our main cut. So decal edge around the outside, decal edge in the middle. Now, some of you may well remember or have seen or collected the Wings of Wonder collection, and you're going to know a few of my dies in that one also have this decal edge. So although these collections are for 2 different purposes as such, we have the Pierce collection and we have the Wings of Wonder collection, I do like tying them together. So you're going to notice different elements are going to work together really nicely. When we look at this part here, this reminds me of like the top of a tissue box. So possibly build a box underneath it, infill with tissues. You've got a get well soon gift. You could then use the same panel on your card to coordinate. This panel, of course, could go on the top of that one, so you could have the colours shining through. Or a bit like I mentioned, you could pop a self-adhesive sheet under there and add in glitters and bits like that. We then, of course, have the solid oval or the open one with the little hearts as well, giving you more uses and options. When we bring these together to make our cards, here's a little free fold card that I've made. So again, very easy to do, but we'll just sort of fold down into its 3 panels. And then on here, we can see again, we've brought in the Best Wishes from the Wings of Wonder 2 collection. The fonts in Wings of Wonder also match my Sentiment collection. So again, 2 different collections, but coming together. So I've got the word mother from my female sentiments. You'll of course have already spotted our little fairy in the middle here with the wings that can be sort of shaped up too. That's another die that's coming up in this collection shortly. Then when we go on to our next card, again, you've got On Your Special Day from the Wings of Wonder 2 collection. You've also got a little butterfly here that's coming up too. And again, you can see those layers in the middle used from the very first die I shared with you, but actually used on the second frame as such. So again, being used together. Then we have the butterfly backgrounds. This one has 2 dies in it. Now again, I'm going to go on about my Wings of Wonder. This matches perfectly with the Wings of Wonder die, which has the scallop square to it. You're also going to see this come up again in a second with the decal edge. So if you do have those dies with the outside decal edge and with the outside scallop edge, they are fractionally larger than these dies. That means that you've got the perfect matte and layer already with those two to coordinate now with the Pierced collection as well. I like to build them up and give you those options. Mattes and layers are really lovely, and actually having the ability to interchange between the 2 sets is a really nice feature. With this one again, we've got our insert die as such. That doesn't have an attached outside edge to it. So again, it can be used to create an aperture on the front of your card. You can see just how much work has gone into this die, can't you? And how beautiful that is going to look when it cuts. This is it cut out. And of course, not only is it cut, it's debossed, it's pierced, it's everything you could want. Now I've trimmed this one out on a trimmer to give me a slightly larger outside edge, but of course we can use the scalloped edge which comes in with it. We could then of course use the scalloped edge as well to put them plates underneath, again for your glitters and bits like that, or just to colour popping through. And of course all the butterflies that are in this one can of course be used on their own to decorate your cards as well. Now you might notice a bit of a theme here. I love these sort of free fold cards. So again, just free fold card, panel on each panel of it as such, and then little butterflies added. All of my love, which again is one of my Wings of Wonder 2 collection dies, and then a little butterfly down in the corner. And I've gone for this custard cardstock from Foundations. I really love him playing with that. It's got this sort of summery vibe to it, which I really appreciate. Now this die can of course be used to tile cut or tile emboss as such. Just by taking the same die and offsetting it around the original cut, you can create much larger background panels with it if you would like to. The only limitation here, of course, is the size of your machine. But this is just for some gold mirror card and then some of our spearmint card placed underneath it. But it's a really nice sort of memory jogger that when we talk about these dies not having outside cutting edges, this is one of the bonuses that we have. It does mean that we can multi-cut it in different areas if we would like to. Then on to our next one. This is our Circles Mandala. So this time we've got 2 dies again. Same again as what we was talking about with this one. Decal edge to this is a separate die. And again, this is the step down from the decal edged background die that you will see in the Wings of Wonder collection. So if you have got that one, you've instantly got another sort of matte or layer to go beneath this. Once again, lots of work going on with this die. We've got lots of cut lines. We've got lots of piercing lines, and we've got lots of debossed lines. So loads to show you on this one when we bring this in. This is actually what it's going to look like when it's gone through. Now again, think about leaving this in the card. So here, once again, trimmed out with a trimmer. Then you've got your backing plate. Then you've actually got your sort of panel to work on top of if you wish to. Now, talking about extending, of course, you can do the same with this one if you wish to. So here's just a very simple card with lots of butterflies on. Quite easy to do, but quite effective. And then I've got another one here, again going back to my custard card, and he is showing you the difference between the Wings of Wonder deckled edge square and then of course the deckled edge square that we're going to receive with this one. So that's when I'm on about with our mattes and our layers. Having those dies coordinate, although they're not the same collection, it's really going to work nicely in your favour. Also a little hint here at our Wings of Wonder from this release, which is coming up shortly, and of course the daisies too. Now I've shown you the backgrounds, I've shown you the frames as such. Let's talk about the fancy parts to decorate, the sort of finishing touches, if you will. Now this is the delicate butterfly. Now I love a butterfly, and this one is no exception. In here we have 4 dies. When we flip this over, we have got the main butterfly body itself. Now this again doesn't have an attached outside edge, so we can cut this in and leave it in our cardstock. We then have the outside edge, which is great again for cutting those solid colours to go underneath or sticky sheets. And then we of course have our antennoids, and this one has like an engraved line or a cut line as such, but it also then has the outer edge that gives you more ideas on how you can use it. When we bring in the board, this will hopefully give you some ideas. So this is how our butterfly is going to look when it's cut out, using the outside edge and the main panel. These are our antennae, so we've got that sort of cut-in line, and then we've got our outside piece. The cut-in line is really nice if you cut that into the base level underneath the actual butterfly. That looks really pretty. But of course, you can use the outside edge if you want to trim it out as a separate. Working just here in black and white with a few pearls, that looks quite nice, showing you how you can layer it. But this is one of the ways I really love using it, is actually cutting it directly into my cardstock and then making that the feature. And of course, you've got your backing plate to go with that as well. Speaking of cutting it in and leaving that to be your feature, that's exactly what I've done here. So there are the antennae sort of cut into the card. Then we've got the main panel of the butterfly. And as you can see, I've layered it using some of the dies we've been looking at already with some silver mirror card below that. Doesn't, of course, have to be one of the dies from this release. This is one of Sue Wilson's cut corner rectangle dies. And I've just cut this again into gold mirror card because I do love a bit of shimmer. I do like a little bit of mirror, and I think that looks really lovely engraved into that one. But of course you can cut it, layer it and pop it onto your cards as a completely 3D item. So this one's a double layer with coconut white card underneath it to just give you that dimension. Now, I've shown you an awful lot of the flowers, but we haven't spoke about the set they come from. That is this one. This is our Daisy Blossoms set. Now, in here we have 12 dies. So you've got 4 flower heads, you've got 4 centres, and you've got a whole array of foliage. Now, if you've watched my shows, you know I love foliage, and I love sort of building up displays and going to town with that. And I always really appreciate it when we give you the left and the right of the different pieces. So when you're building up corners or borders or wreaths, it all matches in and you can go in every direction with them. So with this set, we have 12 different dies designed for you to build up as you wish to. This is how they're going to look when they're cut. So you can see the detailing there on the daisies. You've also got the same pierced detailing running down the middles, and then you've even got some of the pierced detailing on some of the leaves too. Now, I've shown you lots and lots of flowers, so just a quick sneak. Again, another one of our Wings of Wonder dies coming up. I'll show you that shortly. But flowers on here, of course, are created with this set. And then talking of wreaths, this is one I've just made. And all the paper for this one, or all the coloured paper, I should say, has come out of my vintage paper pad that we just released as well. But very easy to do, lots of flowers just around there. Wings of Wonder, the Moroccan lattice used in the background there. Again, so showing you how this can all come together. Then moving on to our final finishing touches and our final die from the Pierced collection. But don't leave, we've still got 2 Wings of Wonder ones to go through. This is Fairy Wishes. Now this is 7 dies, and with this one we've got our main fairy. We've got lots of little flowers and watering cans and little flourishes to build up the scene to go with our fairy. This is how our gorgeous little fairy is going to look once cut. So as you can see, debossed effects here for the hair, pierced effects going down the dress and on the flower, across the watering can and throughout the flowers as well. This is just a really pretty one to bring to life and create with. Whether you wish to colour her or leave her plain is your choice completely. I really quite like her just sort of standing out from the backgrounds with different effects. This again showing our lovely background cut in vellum, and then showing that decal square actually used to create the aperture here with inside a pierced square by Sue Wilson. Then moving on, we have got Wings of Wonder. So let's show you the Wings of Wonder collection. Now this is our first one. This is our butterfly circle frame. Now with this one we have 6 different dies. So when I turn this over, you can see here we've got outer edges, we've got inner edges, and then we have these beautiful butterfly circles that will actually stay in your cardstock if you would prefer. So it's up to you whether you use this part or whether you use the outer edges to cut them out, like a doily, cut them as a frame by using the inside ones. The options really are quite endless with a set like this. This is what you're going to be able to create with it, just to give you a small glimpse of what's actually going to happen here. And this, of course, is using the inside and outside edges on these 2 sizes, or just using the outside edge on the larger one. So many, many ways in which you're going to be able to cut these into your card. Here's a first little glimpse for you. Of course, we've got our beautiful fairy on here. We've got our flowers going around the edges here. Corner die from Wings of Wonder as well. So again, showing you how that's all going to match together. Decorated with some of the Cosmic Shimmer Mineral Mica. Then we can look at one here that's just been stacked up as well. So we've got our Happy Birthday sentiments. We've got our daisies. We've got our double stack here. And that's all been nested inside the scallop square too. Or you can go very clean and simple, double stacking our decal edge squares here between the 2 collections, bringing in that butterfly for the middle here, little butterfly in the centre of that, and with love from the sentiment collection on the base there. Then for our last die, we have got butterfly square frame. Now this of course is very similar to the circle, but in a square format, same idea. And that's something I really wanted, was to be able to give you the option to go between squares and circles and intermix them if you want to, or keep them separate. 6 dies in this one, same idea again. We've got the outer edges, we've got the inner edges, and we've got those really delicate squares. Then on top of that, you've got a lovely butterfly in the middle there to work with as well. This is the board, if I bring this one in, just to share with you how they're going to cut out, to give you a small idea. So we've got all our backing areas. Again, these can be left as solids or cut open. And then you've got the same for your frames. And again, think about actually cutting these and leaving them in your cardstock. And that's what I've done here. So if I open this one out for you and actually show you the board beneath it, hopefully that gives you the idea of how easy that is to create that part. Then you can use your other dies for mats and layers in the inside or on the outside. Bring in the fairy again, and then a few of our daisies around the edge, but a really simple, crisp card to create, not too difficult at all. And then for our last card, just sharing with you how you can, of course, take those 2 squares, twist one into a diamond, and this is just using some teal cardstock and some silver mirror card to make that card. Well, I hope that gives you a few ideas of what you could be creating with the collection. It's an absolute joy to have a little bit of time with you and share with you a few of my ideas, talk you through the collection, and hopefully inspire you to see what you can make with them as well. Now, as I mentioned, the complete collection has now been launched by Creative Expressions, and you'll be able to find it in all of your favourite Creative Expressions stockists shortly, I'm sure. I will also be on Hobby Maker TV with them here in the UK next week, and that will be on Tuesday the 9th of May and Wednesday the 10th of May. I've got an hour on both days to hopefully bring you lots of inspiration with these, do some fab demos. Several of the cards I just shared with you as well, we will hopefully be demoing some of those and answering your questions. So if you've got any questions at all, then of course you can ask them in the comments of this video, or if you'd like a live answer, pop them into the studio at Hobby Maker and we'll do our best to read them out and answer them for you. Thank you so much for watching today, and don't forget to let me know in the comments what your favourite die is. And once you've got these, please don't hesitate to share with me your creations as well. Pop over to Jamie Rodgers Crafts Facebook page and pop them in the comments that are on there and share with me what you've been doing, because I love to see what you've been up to. One of the biggest parts of the job that I enjoy the most is actually seeing how I've inspired you, or what you've sort of taken from the dies and created in your own world. It's honestly, it's amazing. It's lovely, and it makes us feel like one giant community. So please do get involved. Equally, don't forget to check out the Creative Expressions official Facebook group, and you can share all of your creations in there as well, not only with my dies but all Creative Expressions products. And I do like to have a little sneaky look in there too, so if you're not already a member, go check that one out as well. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye for now.